Welcome to the Fullness of Breath. My name is Christina Stoltz, and I'm honored to guide you through this 20-minute meditation. Before we begin, take a moment to establish a comfortable meditation seat. Lengthen your spine. Relax and release your jaw. Roll your shoulders down your back. Close your eyes. Savor the richness of your breath, consciously connecting with every inhale and every exhale, and allowing yourself to arrive in a place of stillness. In the space of this stillness, allow breath and awareness to settle into the pelvic floor. Be patient, offering time for the actions of the breath to settle into organic waves of inhale and exhale, isolated in the pelvic floor. Invite the actions of breath to remain a full yet effortless tide of natural rhythm filling the pelvic bowl. Sense the waves of breath, its expansion and contraction, gently caressing the base of the spine, and the organs of the body rooted and resting in the pelvic bowl. The breath's experience invited into isolation here in the lower body. The breath, its experience, an effortless tide. Waves of natural rhythm caressing the pelvic bowl. Sense fully the expansion and contraction of life-giving force caressing the tissues and organs of the lower body. This experience and awareness invited to remain isolated here. When you're ready, sense the beginning of each exhale. Begin with a patient, gentle, yet deliberate pelvic muscular contraction. With the in-breath, the pelvic muscles slowly relax, creating an invitation for the next breath to fill the pelvic bowl with its life-giving experience. Exhale begins with a skillful, patient pelvic muscular contraction. With inhale, the pelvic muscles slowly relax, inviting the next breath to enter. Try to sense fully the breath's life-giving experience filling the pelvic bowl. The organs and tissues of the lower body embrace the life-giving experience the breath offers. Now, with each exhale, as you sense the contraction of pelvic muscles, let this be followed by the contraction of the lower abdominal muscles, further assisting completion of each exhale. Exhale begins with pelvic muscular contraction, followed by the lower abdominal muscles gently drawing inward toward the spine. Sense them slowly drawing inward, further assisting release of the out breath. On inhale, breath first draws down into the pelvic bowl. The pelvic muscles slowly release as the breath enters. As you feel the gentle pressure of the breath's expansion into the pelvic floor, begin to slowly release the lower abdominal muscles, creating more room for the expanding breath as it effortlessly fills the lower body. With each exhale, patiently, the pelvic muscles contract, followed by the lower abdominal muscles drawing inward toward the spine. The inhale is guided by the patient release of the pelvic muscles and is then followed by the relaxation of the lower abdominal muscles as breath continues its expansion, filling the pelvic bowl. Now, mindfully synchronize your efforts. Invite the breath's action to settle into an effortlessly smooth and natural rhythm of both conscious muscular action and life energy experience, effortlessly isolated in the pelvic bowl. Now, listen carefully to my next instructions. Make no changes to your experience until the instructions I share have become clear in your mind. Very patiently, breath by breath, vertebra by vertebra, we're going to guide the breath into a fuller experience. Hold on to the patient and masterful pelvic breath you've created as you listen carefully to my next instructions. When you're ready to proceed, do so with a sense of elegance and ease, without disturbing the breath's natural, peaceful rhythm. Imagine now the in-breath drawing into the body like water filling a glass. It draws in, flowing down into the pelvic bowl, and then rises, filling the lower body with a slightly fuller experience. The action of pelvic and abdominal muscles remains unchanged, except for an increasing state of patience to manage the fuller breath. The experience of breath still remains in the space of the lower body below the navel. Again, the in-breath moves into the body like water filling a glass, flowing down into the pelvic bowl and then rising only slightly higher as we sense it filling the lower body with a slightly fuller experience. The action of exhale, guided by the pelvic and abdominal muscles, remains unchanged except for an increased state of patience to manage the breath's fullness. The experience of breath still remains in the space of the lower body below the navel. Now, very patiently, breath by breath, vertebra by vertebra, guide the breath into a fuller experience. Each in-breath offering a slightly fuller experience than the one before. All action and experience remains the same, except for the growing sensation of fullness as the breath begins its rise out of the pelvis and upward through the body. Each exhale begins with the pelvic followed by abdominal contraction as the breath is guided to exit in preparation for the next incoming breath. Each in-breath rises upward from the pelvis and now along the spine, through the inner body, inviting the spine to lengthen. The out-breath begins with a gentle pelvic contraction, followed by the abdominal muscles drawing inward toward the spine. The spine remains lifted and is supported by the contraction of core muscles. Let your patience grow along with the breath's fullness. Each breath brings a fuller experience, with each breath taking just a little longer to complete. Be clear in your intentions, effortless and patient in your actions. Breath by breath, vertebra by vertebra, we guide the breath into a fuller experience. Perhaps now reaching into the space of the chest, we invite the chest to expand and the collarbones to lift. Each in-breath offering a slightly fuller experience than the one before, with all action remaining patient, soothing, even joyful. Each out-breath begins with a patient yet deliberate pelvic muscular contraction, followed by the abdominal muscles drawing inward toward the spine. The spine remains lifted and is supported by the contraction of these core muscles. Orchestrate these actions of the breath and body with great patience and care. Coordinate your intentions to grow the breath into an experience of your intention without inviting frustration or disturbance. If at any time you feel the tranquility of the breath being too challenged, just remain where you are until the breath and the condition of the mind have settled. Ask no more of the breath and body than it's willing to offer in any moment. Let compassion and patience be the keys to your success in returning to a smooth, rhythmic, and now elongated full tide of consciously guided breath. Guide your actions with a loving sense of kindness and gratitude for the gifts that each breath offers. With eyes closed, draw your palms together at heart center and bow your head in gratitude for and reverence of the power of your breath. Namaste.